Hello and welcome to another marvelous video. I'm your host Will. To me, my X-Men fans, if you know Wolverine, then you know all about his adamantium-laced skeleton. But what happens when it gets challenged by another metal? In this video, we're gonna go over the time Wolverine was challenged by the metal of the gods. Let's get to it.
Wolverine is one of the most popular X-Men out there. Brought to life on screen by none other than Hugh Jackman, he has captured the imagination of people all over the world. His troubled past makes him a deeply tragic and flawed character in many ways. He can be extremely ferocious at times. Although his formidable superhero strength cannot always compensate for his loneliness and isolation. And beneath all the complexity and darkness, we know that in his own way, he cares about doing the right thing. One of the most fascinating stories about Wolverine involves him fighting against the God Metal Adamantine in the Wolverine comic series written by Saladin Ahmed. And in this video, that's exactly what we're gonna talk about. So, without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. Who is adamantine? So first of all, long story short, adamantine is a metal. But make no mistake, it's not just any ordinary metal. It's the metal of the gods. In other words, it would be appropriate to say that adamantine is the spirit and living embodiment of the metal itself. It has been on planet Earth as long as time has existed, and for ages on Earth, it was left without a purpose. And then, the Olympians discovered it and gave it purpose. They used it for making weapons of war, such as Hercules' golden mace and the helm of Hades. It's metal in its truest form. It's a sentient, living, and breathing entity that cannot tolerate blasphemy at any cost. Adamantine has contempt beyond any imaginable belief for the modern age. It believes that adamantium is a false copy of adamantine that shouldn't exist at all. For adamantine, the metal adamantium itself is a symptom of a false era, in which everything is false and artificial, ranging from legislations to all kinds of false metal and weapons of war. Adamantine at any cost wants to restore the mythical age, and unsurprisingly, it has immense contempt for humans, believing that they have a tendency to dilute the purity and authenticity of everything. And it also believes that adamantium represents another failing of the era of falsehood, cheap copies, and blasphemy. It awakened from its slumber when Wolverine and Cyber were fighting each other. It saw that adamantium was widely used by superheroes in the era in which he woke up. It saw adamantium as a false and cheap copy of itself and couldn't bear its existence. The mere fact of adamantium's existence enraged it, and it decided to go ahead on a mission to destroy it completely and wipe out its existence on planet Earth. At first, it planned to take control of the ones who had adamantium in their bodies, starting with Cyber, as it wanted to replace adamantium in their bodies with adamantine. Then it took control of Lady Deathstrike and Constrictor, and wanted to control Wolverine itself. The Return of Cyber. The first issue of Wolverine from 2024, written by Saladin Ahmed, starts in the isolated and cold landscape of the northwestern territories of Canada. Within the first few pages, we see Wolverine leading a pack of wolves, and then we get introduced to Cyber as he is vowing to kill him. He is reminiscing about the days when Wolverine was young, and he used to be his drill sergeant. He tried his best to teach him to be a soldier, seeing glimpses of greatness in him, but at the same time, also seeing something in him that refused to be disciplined. Or at least, that's what he believes. A few personnel of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police show up. They tell him to put down his rifle. At first, he does what he's told, but that doesn't last. He attacks them immediately and aggressively. The personnel have fear written on their faces. And then we immediately cut to Nightcrawler, who is trying to find Wolverine in the Canadian snow. Suddenly, he sees a bunch of dead bodies in an extremely horrible condition and gets terrified. Cyber has killed Wolverine's entire pack of wolves. And then, Wolverine shows up. At first, it seems like Wolverine is going to attack Nightcrawler. But then, a few moments later, we see both of them talking to each other like old friends again. Nightcrawler is telling him that he has a family that needs him. He needs him to lead the X-Men again. After that, both Wolverine and Nightcrawler reach a site where they see the dead body of a man named Dave. And there are some people gathered there. Again, the dead body is in an extremely horrible condition, with arms, mouth, and several body parts bent and twisted out of shape. The overall shape of the dead body is quite similar to the shape of the dead bodies Nightcrawler saw before, implying that Dave also fell victim to the same killer. Dave's friends tell him that the guy who killed Dave had a gun, but he chose to just punch Dave to death with his bare hands instead. The interaction soon escalates, and the men gathered there start lashing out and aggressively yelling at Wolverine and Nightcrawler. They tell them that the murderer was one of them, a mutant. Eventually, Nightcrawler gets attacked and injured by Cyber, and all the events in the first issue culminate in the fight between Wolverine and Cyber. In that fight, Wolverine clearly has the upper hand as he gouges out his eyes. While the fight is going on, Cyber reminds Wolverine about the injured state Nightcrawler is in right now. Wolverine stops fighting and goes back to his friend. In the meantime, Cyber gets away. He enters a dark and isolated cave where Adamantine smells him from a mile away. The fight between them will come up. Adamantine right now is weak, and it must do something to build its strength. And in order to do that, it wants to take hold of Cyber. Cyber gets extremely scared by its presence, and he pleads to the Adamantine to leave him alone and not proceed with whatever it's about to do to him. But Adamantine, on the other hand, believes that it is purifying him of his weak will and making him worthy. Its work has just begun, and it won't stop until all the adamantium in the world is purged from the earth. Long story short, Adamantine has waged a war against adamantium, as it believes that adamantium is a false metal that has committed blasphemy against it by copying it. The return of Cyber changes things. Wolverine doesn't have a pack now, and he gets framed for the crimes committed by Cyber. As a result of that, he's on the run from Department H. Department H reaches the woods where Wolverine is present. Wolverine is trying to hide from them at any cost. While he is trying to evade the federal agents, he notices a flash of movement in the trees. Someone else is also present there, other than the federal agents and Wolverine. He can smell it, the blood-soaked scent of a monster. And then, at that moment, Wendigo shows up and immediately starts to attack Wolverine, and a fight between them ensues. Wolverine was once a man who was cursed by the northern gods. The curse had turned him into a cannibal with an insatiable hunger for human flesh. Also, the curse only enables him to say the word Wendigo. While Wolverine is fighting Wendigo, he is contemplating that he has fought this cursed cannibalistic beast many times and walked away, but this time, something about him seems off. Wolverine feels that Wendigo is fighting as if it is scared and unsure of itself. It's not as vicious as it's supposed to be. The fight gets over sooner than expected. Wolverine managed to defeat it. All he has to do right now is kill it. A wound on Wendigo's chest is bleeding, and after a few moments, the beast utters a word, help. It utters a word other than its own name, and then it runs away. It's running as if it's scared, but it's not running to escape the clutches of Wolverine. Instead, it's running to take Wolverine to his cabin. Initially, Wolverine thinks that he's heading straight into an ambush, but his suspicion immediately fades when Wendigo hands him his journal in order to explain his past. After reading the journal, Wolverine learns that Leonard and his best friend Ryan went to the Northwest Territories in order to escape from their abusive home group. They were not prepared for the harsh, oppressive, and extremely cold weather. Ryan perished there. Eventually, in order to survive, Leonard had to eat the corpse of his best friend, and since then, he has been carrying this Wendigo curse and roaming as a cannibal in these woods. While all of this is happening, Wolverine notices that Wendigo is trying to fight its desire to eat him. As much as possible, he can see it in its eyes. As it turns out, Wendigo was not just fighting against Wolverine, it was also fighting against its own curse. Wolverine realizes that after getting cursed, Wendigo has not hurt anyone in the woods yet. Although, before it's too late, he chooses to help him and becomes hell-bent on training and taming him. He takes him under his wing and begins to teach him techniques to control his bloodlust. He sees the helpless and cursed teenager inside him and chooses to be compassionate towards him instead of fighting him. It's a very heartwarming moment in the comic series, as it adds layers to the character of Wolverine. At times, Wendigo's hunger overtakes him, and Wolverine still doesn't give up on him. In the meantime, Cyber, after encountering Adamantine, developed glowing and golden eyes, and golden adamine metal overtook his adamantium arms. He sought another enemy of Wolverine, Lady Deathstrike, and imbued her with similar features, and she, in turn, imbued Constrictor with similar properties. The call of the Adamantine. Elsewhere, we see Wolverine being scared of the possibility that Adamantine might eventually come for him too. And not just that, he can literally feel its call in his bones, promising him purification. There is something deeply unsettling, eerie, and disturbing about that promise. Wolverine is contemplating the moment in which Wendigo chewed off Constrictor's shoulder, and despite that, Constrictor was still standing straight and staring at Wendigo, not fazed at all. Wolverine genuinely cares about Wendigo. He wants to restore him to his previous human self. As he contemplates all of that and navigates the turmoil of his thoughts, Wendigo is carrying Wolverine on his shoulders and running away from Cyber, Lady Deathstrike, and Constrictor. Their influence on Wolverine is gradually waning. Wolverine tells Wendigo to put him down. After Wendigo does, he tells him that he cannot fight them in this state, and he will just slow him down. He's lying with his back against a rock, knowing that trouble is not far away. They found him. After a few moments, he stares at the sky and smiles a little, accepting his fate. But fate has other plans for him, as Nightcrawler comes to his rescue, showing up with his Blackbird and shooting concussion missiles at Deathstrike and Constrictor. It gives Wolverine and Wendigo enough time to escape from there and enter the Blackbird. Later on, Wolverine and Nightcrawler go to a factory that produces adamantium. That factory is under fire. Apparently, it had been attacked by Cyber, Lady Deathstrike, and Constrictor, under the influence of adamantine. And then, while fighting Cyber at the site of devastation, Wolverine is again hearing the call of adamantine. He is clearly in a lot of pain, as if his head is about to explode. He senses darkness all around him, a nothingness. He feels buried beneath the Earth's deep surface. The sounds down there are different from the sounds on the surface. He is still hearing the ringing of adamantine, the metal of the gods. He can also hear the screeching of the man's false metal adamantium. Then suddenly, he hears a sound from far away, a strange but familiar voice. He struggles to make it out over the sound of metal, and then he realizes that the sound is calling out his own name, Logan. In fact, it's Nightcrawler calling out his name. Wolverine has regained consciousness. He asks Nightcrawler what the hell happened, as going toe-to-toe with Cyber is the last thing he remembers. Nightcrawler tells him that he collapsed after that, and Cyber got away while he was busy evacuating the workers from the factory. Wolverine tells him that he needs to find him. He further adds that something is trying to rid the world of adamantium, and whatever it is, it's killing anyone that gets in the way. The scent of family. While they're having this conversation, Logan catches the scent of something that he had missed for so long. It's the scent of family, and that's where we get introduced to Laura, Wolverine's daughter, born via cloning, who also has the same powers as him. While she first appears, she proceeds to attack Wendigo, and Wendigo returns the favor by also proceeding to attack her. But Nightcrawler and Wolverine intervene in order to stop their fighting, and they successfully manage to stop it. Wolverine suddenly has a realization about how much he didn't know, that he needed the presence of family so much until now. He tells Laura that an ancient entity called adamantine, the spirit of metal itself, is trying to rid the world of adamantium. It is capturing and influencing anyone who has adamantium in their body, Cyber, Lady Deathstrike, and Constrictor, and they have to team up and stop that ancient evil force. In response, Laura tells him that she also heard a voice that reached out to her. Wolverine tells his daughter that adamantine is probably as old as Earth itself. Wolverine, Nightcrawler, and Laura enter the Blackbird, and there, they find out about the profiles of Lady Deathstrike, Constrictor, and Cyber by using the biometrics from the Blackbird's cameras. They get a signal from a data center in Arizona. After entering it, they see several dead bodies lying around, with gunshots, crushed skulls, and claw marks. As it turns out, Cyber, Deathstrike, and Constrictor reached there way before them and carried out their heinous atrocities. After a few moments, Donald Pierce shows up with golden eyes. As it turns out, even he has come under the influence of adamantine. And after that, Cyber, Deathstrike, and Constrictor show up as well. The 6th issue ends with the introduction of Romulus. The ultimate face-off with Romulus. Where Romulus first appears, Laura asks Wolverine whether the guy in front of them is Romulus or not. She asks him whether he is actually the man who claimed to have founded Rome, as well as the origin of their bloodline. In response, Wolverine tells her that she has got a good memory, although he also tells her that all the information about Romulus is just a bunch of lies. But despite that, he is as dangerous as they come, and he was nearly killed by him more than once. Laura tells him that he smells different from the others who have been influenced by adamantine. He smells more like blood and less like metal. All this talk between them doesn't go well with Romulus, who tells both of them furiously that they should not talk about him as if he is not even standing there. He further makes his displeasure even clearer by taunting that Laura's father did not teach her any manners. The tension between them is extremely high, and things are escalating every minute. Eventually, a fight breaks out between them. Both Wolverine and Romulus are talking to each other while the fight between them is going on. Romulus tells him that when he ruled Rome, he sent sages, spies, and soldiers in search of a primal power that was whispered about in secret codes. A buried power not just older than men, but older than gods as well. A power that could indeed make a man into a god. The texts describe this power as the primordial spirit of metal itself, and called it the adamantine. He tried to search for it, but never found it. and thought that it was lost to the world when the Age of Myth ended. But then Wolverine's fight with Cyber woke it up. Romulus asked Wolverine whether he liked the fact that he was the one who woke it up after so many years. In response, Wolverine tells him that he's delusional, and then he asks him why he doesn't sound like a zombie, unlike Cyber and the others. Romulus responds by stating aggressively that he is Adamantine's regent and champion, and the others are just his thralls. He further adds that the Age of Myth would return and bring back the glory and grandeur of the old heroes of legend, and for that to happen, those who have taken their place have to die, including Wolverine. While their fight is going on, Romulus creates a magic sinkhole, which astonishes Wolverine as he never had that power before. And then he realizes that it's probably because of the powers he got from Adamantine. And it's not that surprising to him anymore, as Romulus would do anything to gain power. In fact, one of the reasons why he opposes Wolverine is because of the fact that Wolverine doesn't want to join him on his delusional mission to conquer the world. Wolverine is on the back foot now, and it's pretty clear that Romulus, who has seized the power of the Adamantine, has the upper hand in that fight. During the fight, Romulus tells Wolverine that they were never meant for the world of endless legislation and artificial food. They are beasts, warriors of tooth and claw. He further adds, getting rid of adamantium is not enough. It's just the start. By using Adamantine's power, Romulus wants to remake the world and bring back the Age of Myth, an age of gore and strength, an age fit for men like him and Wolverine. While saying this, he appears to completely overpower Wolverine, and then he adds further and tells him that he is upset at him for always siding with a world of legislation and artifice. He is upset at Wolverine for tending to weak, oppressed, wounded, and vulnerable people. He is also upset at him for trying to protect scrawny scientists. Romulus is someone who has no empathy, compassion, and consideration for human beings. And then Romulus tells Wolverine that after he's done with him, his daughter Laura might be next. This enrages Wolverine beyond belief. The claws come out, and he proceeds to viciously attack Romulus immediately, telling him that he is over 1,000 years old and he still never learned how to shut his mouth. Wolverine ultimately wins that fight. After Romulus's defeat, Adamantine's spirit leaves his body, and then the spirit of Adamantine is directly having a conversation with Wolverine, telling him that Romulus was not worthy of its gifts. The Adamantine further adds and tells Wolverine that he might be the true champion, though. Wolverine claws down Adamantine's avatar to save what truly mattered to him. He is truly united with his weapons. He possesses animal savagery with heroic purpose and a false metal with true spirit. That's what Adamantine believes about him. And then, after saying all these things to Wolverine, he develops a golden armored body instantly on the spot. Wolverine tries to attack it, but it backfires. Adamantine attacks him once in self-defense, and Wolverine falls down to the ground with a bleeding face. Adamantine tells him that their contest will come soon enough, but not today. Adamantine wants to learn the truths of the new age about how to live and kill in it, and then he would return to finish the fight between them. Adamantine gets away. The return of Leonard. Later on, we see Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Wendigo, and Laura near the Blackbird. They're all talking to each other. Suddenly, we abruptly cut to Wolverine waking up in an isolated dark room. Here is where we enter a very surreal and atmospheric zone in the story. Wolverine senses that something is wrong with him as he wakes up from his sleep in the way in which a human being without any superpowers would. After waking up, he is yawning, sleepy-eyed, and leisurely. Usually, he snaps awake. That basically means that he's been drugged. He got the sedative doses that can kill a horse, but due to his healing factor, he's just feeling a bit tired. He remembers saying goodbye to Laura and Nightcrawler at the data center in Arizona. He remembers trying to track down the Adamantine and not getting any leads. He also remembers crashing at a cheap motel and starting to nod off while watching TV. He guesses that somebody must have gassed him, and he's also afraid that the guy who had drugged him might have drugged Wendigo too. And soon enough, his fears are about to materialize. While he's contemplating his situation, Arcade appears in front of him, a hitman who builds giant death traps for superheroes to kill them. Those death traps are called murder worlds. He seeks thrills from the traps he sets up for the heroes that he wants to kill. In fact, he enjoys the game itself more than the act of killing. According to Wolverine, Arcade is a creep who sees himself as the ultimate carnival barker. So, Arcade tells Wolverine that he has to play a game in order to prevent Wendigo from eating human subjects tied to chairs. Wendigo, directly in front of them, is also bound to a chair, and hunger-inducing drugs are being pumped inside his body, which will only further increase his hunger and desire to eat human beings who are in front of them. Wendigo's shackles are on a timer. Before the time is up, Wolverine has to go to him and try to prevent him from eating the humans in front of him. While going to Wendigo, He encounters a lot of people and glimpses of his past life. As it turns out, none of that is real. Arcade is playing tricks on him by using his past to hurt and distract him. Wolverine does get affected by it. Initially, Arcade's plan seems to be working, but later on, Wolverine reaches the site where Wendigo is tied, and he successfully prevents him from eating the human subjects. When Wendigo gets aggressive and starts attacking Wolverine, the latter stops fighting him, and eventually, Wendigo refuses to eat the human subjects as well. Then Arcade presses a button, and a large glass tank falls on Wolverine and covers him. It's finished with adamantium dust. Then the tank starts getting filled by a volatile, flesh-eating, and fast-acting acid. Wolverine only has a minute or two to get out of the tank before he turns into a skeleton. He tries to cut through the glass as quickly as possible. In the meantime, Wendigo attacks and injures Arcade, and then he breaks open the glass tank by repeatedly bashing it and covers Wolverine with his body in order to prevent the acid from rushing all over Wolverine. Instead, the acid rushes over Wendigo's body, melting his skin in the process. Wolverine's heart sinks as he becomes extremely sad, believing that Leonard has passed away. However, the body of Wendigo melts away, and out of that comes out Leonard, liberated from his curse. And by that time, Arcade runs away. Wolverine and Leonard go to meet the latter's mom, and there, Leonard gets reunited with her. Wolverine sees that the love between the two of them is honest and strong. While they're having dinner, Leonard's mom tells Wolverine again and again that she's glad to have Leonard home because kids need their moms. Wolverine nods while his heart sinks, pretending that her words don't rip him up inside. He contemplates further. He's luckier than most ex-soldiers. Due to his healing factor, he doesn't have old wounds and injuries that start hurting again out of nowhere, but that cannot compensate for his inner turmoil. In fact, there are some psychological and emotional wounds that he got before he became a soldier or before he ever became a man. As soon as his mutation emerged, his own mother called him an animal, and then she threw him out of the house and took her own life. On Mother's Day, when people start talking about everything their moms did for them, he struggles to make a word come out of his mouth. After a while, Wolverine helps Leonard with the dishes before hitting the road, and then he makes him promise that he will call him if he feels the influence of the Wendigo returning. Leonard thanks him, stating that by trusting him and not giving up on him, he's made him look at things differently. Later on, Wolverine goes to a motel room and gets a 6-pack of beer, and there he receives a letter from his mother, who apparently died years ago. Her letter reveals that she is alive and in serious trouble. Wolverine decides to go to the Howlett estate to find out more about the shocking letter he received. But soon enough, he realizes that he walked into a trap. Harpoon and Vertigo are waiting for him. After quickly dispatching the two, Wolverine meets Sabretooth, one of his fiercest enemies. They both get into a vicious fight with each other. Ultimately, Wolverine wins the fight, but gets severely injured and falls into the arms of his mother, Elizabeth Howlett. Although it turns out she's not actually his mother. It is none other than the mutant mind manipulator Mastermind, masquerading as her. Eventually, Wolverine manages to kill Mastermind, but the pain of seeing his dead mother again doesn't go away. Logan returns to northern Canada on a solo trip as he needs a breather and his sanity back. There, a chance encounter with a group of wayward mutants, the New Morlocks, brings him face to face with Silver Sable. Silver Sable is a highly trained mercenary who has been hired by the secret community to protect it. A small task force from Department H is on the hunt for the New Morlocks. Once Silver Sable learns the fact that Wolverine is now one of them, she decides to team up with him against Department H. Inspector Mira Meta sends Alpha Flight, who used to be friends of Wolverine, to the area where the New Morlocks live. Wolverine, Silver Sable, and the New Morlocks courageously face the task force, standing toe-to-toe with them. With the help of Wolverine, Silver Sable, the New Morlocks were able to defend themselves against Department H. After this conflict, Logan decides to stay in the community a bit longer to make sure that the group is prepared to face whatever comes their way. Adamantine returns in the form of Hercules. Even after the defeat of Romulus, Adamantine has still not given up. It believes that it must find a new champion to take down Wolverine, one who can prepare the arena and consecrate its ground with his blood. And for that purpose, Adamantine chooses a god from Greek mythology, Hercules, to be specific. Hercules is a demigod who was born as the son of the Olympian god Zeus and a mortal woman. He is one of the most powerful beings on planet Earth. As a true Olympian, he is immortal and has vast superhuman strength and endurance. He was responsible for the completion of the 12 labors and the quest for the Golden Fleece. He has fought many monsters in his life, and even battled gods, including his stepmother Hera. He began his life as a mythic champion of ancient Greece, and then transformed into a superhero, teaming up with the Avengers, champions, and heroes for hire. After Hercules lost his divine powers during the assault on New Olympus and regained them during the Chaos War, Hercules chose to become someone who is not merely and stereotypically a strongman. He adopted a more disciplined path, committing himself to heroism and honor beyond mythic glory. And when he went towards the light, the darkness of Adamantine attacked him, possessing him completely and compelling him to rip Romulus in half and use his remains to lure Wolverine. Adamantine's plan worked. Wolverine showed up and came face to face with the demigod, possessed by Adamantine. Adamantine wanted to bring back the mythical age, and who better is a host for that than the demigod from Greek mythology, Hercules himself. After all, as mentioned before, Adamantine was discovered by the Olympians and used for making their weapons of war, including the golden mace of Hercules. Wolverine tells him that he heard that he has been on a peaceful path lately, so he doesn't see him exactly as the murdering type. In response, Hercules tells him that he remembers the music of shattered shields and the song of forged metal splitting skulls. For a while, he had forgotten those sweet sounds, but the Adamantine sang to him. Wolverine tells him that he is not in his right mind, but he would sure as hell like to knock some sense into him. And then, a fight between them ensues. They both keep on fighting each other brutally, consumed by intense rage, until Athena, the Olympian god of wisdom and war, shows up and intervenes. Athena tells both of them that she has removed Adamantine's influence over Hercules. She further adds that she hasn't come to them as a goddess of wisdom, but as a goddess of war. She tells Wolverine that he is the world's last hope to stop the Adamantine once and for all, as his warring woke it up. She tells him that Adamantine is the very idea of Earth's metal made alive and where. It woke up to cleanse the world of man's creation, adamantium, which it calls false metal. It was given a new purpose by its encounter with Wolverine, as it learned that it could be both a weapon and a wielder, and it has been killing ever since. Wolverine expresses reluctance. In response, Athena warns him, stating that if he does not stop its work now, he will have far more than the ruin around them to atone for. She further states that death follows wherever Adamantine goes. Before it claims more lives, he has to act. Hercules also realizes the error of his ways and chooses to join hands with Wolverine. He is also fiercely determined to defeat Adamantine at any cost. Before coming under the influence of Adamantine, Hercules was on a peaceful path. And then, Adamantine came and changed everything for him for the worse. He vows to take revenge against the ancient evil spirit who robbed him of his conscience and Logan of his peace. Hercules joins Wolverine. As Adamantine promised before, the time has come for the fight between Wolverine and Adamantine to resume. At the beginning of the 20th issue, Wolverine and Hercules face off against the Adamantine in a secret military facility. To make matters worse, that military facility contains experimental weapons. Both Hercules and Wolverine seem to be struggling against Adamantine at first. The metal tells Wolverine it thought he was worthy to be its champion, but it was mistaken. Adamantine further adds that when it woke up in this age, all it heard in the false metal adamantium was a screeching imitation of its perfection. It was an act of blasphemy against Adamantine that it couldn't bear at all, but the bones and claws of Wolverine sang to it, a song of the true champion. It took this form to learn the age's war songs. But then, Adamantine later realized that Wolverine was a false champion after all. The metal believes that Wolverine's song has come to an end. He is also a screeching blasphemy just like the rest of them. In fact, he is the loudest of them all. Adamantine inserts its trident inside Wolverine's stomach. We see Logan in intense pain, lying down and bleeding profusely. The ancient metal further adds that nothing about this era is redeemable, and there are no true champions in this age. On the other hand, Wolverine, while lying down and injured, is thinking that the facility in which he is fighting against Adamantine right now happens to be a storehouse for every twisted flavor of death modern warfare has cooked up. Nukes, bioweapons, chemical ordnance, and if Wolverine doesn't stop him now, Adamantine is going to explode all of them, and then global destruction would be inevitable, instead of being a far-fetched possibility. Wolverine seems to give up all hope at that time, and then at that moment, Hercules shows up and starts challenging Adamantine. In the meantime, Wolverine grabs the opportunity and pulls the trident out of his stomach. Hercules buys enough time for Wolverine to get back up and continue his fight with Adamantine. Wolverine is fiercely determined, not willing to give up. And then, Boneclaw, the wolf with a gun, and Red Hair show up to his rescue. They tell him they are all savage champions, warriors from other worlds, destined to fight against Adamantine. Basically, they are all different selves of Wolverine from different worlds. The Adamantine tells them that they are all false champions, and they are all destined to fall before it. Boneclaw starts shooting Adamantine. The bullets hurt it to its astonishment, and then All 4 of them end up overpowering the Adamantine. At the end of their fight, Wolverine delivers the killing blow, ultimately defeating it. After a few moments, Athena shows up and tells him that a force of nature doesn't die, but it will be a long age before the Adamantine reawakens from its slumber. Wolverine's struggle against the metal is one of the most fascinating stories in the X-Men franchise. In this video, we managed to cover the entire story of how Wolverine fought against the God Metal Adamantine. It's an extremely formidable antagonist, and the fact that Wolverine fought and defeated it bravely is a testament to the level of strength and courage that he himself possesses. And in the process, he also ensured that he didn't lose his soul in all the sound and fury, succeeded in making Wendigo overcome his curse and become Leonard again. His relationship with Leonard adds a very interesting layer to his character. He is much more than someone only capable of rage and menace. Alright folks, this is where we sign off. We hope you enjoyed our video. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care and stay tuned. We'll be back soon with our next video.